Let's talk about the 5 very simple but efficient steps that you need to take in order to become an Amazon seller. And assuming that by now you've already created your Seller Central account, it is as simple as it gets. You just need an email account and you would need a phone number to set up your Seller Central account. Now, step number 1 is product research. You need to know what product are you going to be selling. And for that purpose, we are going to use a product research tool such as Jungle Scout. And by the way, I've used multiple product research tools and I personally find Jungle Scout to be the most reasonable one. So you need to go to Jungle Scout and in the product research section, you need to apply a few filters in order to find a potential opportunity that you're going to be selling. And these are very critical filters that you need to be applying. One of them is to keep your minimum price at $20. The reason for that is because anything below that, below $20, $5, $10, or even $15, you're not going to be left with too much of a margin when it comes to profitability. There are going to be many occasions where you'd have to apply discounts, coupons, where you would have to account for days like Prime Days, Christmas Days, New Year Day. And on such occasions you need to have that margin to play along, and you need to take into account that there's going to be competitors as well, there's going to be a lot of competition as well. So having said all of that, $20 is the minimum price cap that you need to be maintaining. Number 2, there needs to be demand for that product, and this is even more important than the price factor, because no matter what you do, you just cannot create demand. So you need to make sure that there's an existing demand of that product that you might be interested in when it comes to selling that product. So make sure you apply that filter where one product, a particular product, is being sold at least 1,000 times. 1,000 units per month is just the bare minimum. In terms of categories, all categories are fine, but it somehow depends on your interest as well. If you're really interested in automobile sector, if you're really interested in kitchen and home accessories, you can choose any of those fields. However, my recommendation is just initially, at least if you are a beginner as a seller, you wouldn't opt for categories like health or baby categories, or stuff like that, where there's high liability, where there's a lot of regulations involved in those sectors, cosmetics, beauty products related to your skin, etc. Now, once you apply these filters, there's going to be tens of thousands of, or at least hundreds of products that are going to pop up by the software. So you need to take your time. You need to see what you're interested in. You need to see you need to shortlist a few potential opportunities. 7 to 8 products would be nice, and then winding them down to probably 2 or 3 products is the way to go. Just the last thing about this step, do not rush through this process. Product research is going to be the most important part of this whole process of becoming an Amazon seller. This is going to be the foundation of either success or failure, because that is going to determine all of your future processes and steps. Now, step number 2 is finding your top 3 suppliers. The most pertinent place for that is Alibaba. You need to go to Alibaba, and you're going to find scores of suppliers and manufacturers from around the world, but most of them would be from China. So you need to establish and initiate communication with at least 15 or 20 of them, and then based on a few factors, for instance, ease of communication, the data provided by Alibaba, verified and provided by Alibaba, which would include the total exports done in the previous fiscal year, the number of years that manufacturer has been in business, their overall rating, their certifications, and all of those factors combined, you are going to shortlist your top 3 or 5 suppliers. Once you're down to your top 3 suppliers, you are going to place sample orders with all 3 of them. 5 would be even better, but at least make sure you get your top 3 suppliers. And while you are doing that, you need to make a Google sheet. You need to organize your data. You need to rank all of them based on various factors that I just described. So once you come up with your top 3 suppliers, you're going to have to then place sample orders. All right, step number 3 is going to be placing your big order. Once you test those samples that you got from your top 3 suppliers, and make sure you test them in a way that a customer would test. Make sure you test their wear and tear, make sure you test the durability of that product. So once you are down to your top supplier based on who is going to be providing you with the most premium quality, the supplier that is going to be the most professional, the supplier that is the easiest to communicate with. Once you're down to your top supplier, you are going to then have to place the big order. It usually is 500 units, which is the minimum order quantity set by the supplier. It could be 300 units if you're a bit cynical about how your product is going to fare with the customer. Step number 4 is going to be to get your product from your supplier to Amazon warehouse. Now, this step is very important because although you have tested your sample, although you have checked the quality of that sample, but once you are placing that big order that's going to constitute about 1000 units, 2500, whatever the number is, but it's going to be a big number. So that's a big order, and you're going to pay a huge amount for that big order. So you need to make sure that the quality is the same as was of the sample that you tested. I would recommend using WeTrust, as I've used them in my business multiple times. They are very reliable, very professional. And they don't charge too much. It's only going to be $200, $250 depending on if you want them to do a full day inspection, or if it's going to be 4 to 5 man hours of inspection. Either way, it's going to be fine. You're going to provide them with a checklist of the factors depending on the product, of what kind of checks they need to do, and then other than that checklist, they're also going to get it done through their own quality assurance and quality control checklists. So overall, they're very professional. They're going to conduct that inspection and audit report on all of those products that are in the big order, whether it's 1000 or 2000 units, and they would do random sampling out of those, test those products, give you a very detailed report of about 20-25 pages that's going to show you pictures of the factory, all the circumstances that they found those products in, and everything that's going to be included in that report. So make sure you do that. You can choose any other company as well, but make sure you perform that audit just so you have the satisfaction of making sure the quality is in compatibility with your requirements. And the final step is going to be launching your product. So it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks for your product to be shipped from your supplier to Amazon warehouse. By that time, you should get done with your listing. Make sure your title includes all the relevant keywords. Make sure the photography is very decent and professional. It shouldn't look amateur, because remember, the customer is only going to make their mind whether to buy your product or not based on your listing. So it needs to be fully optimized. It needs to be very professional. It needs to give out all the relevant information regarding that product to the customer. So it really needs to help the customer in making up their mind, just to convince them enough to be able to buy your product, even if there isn't too many reviews in the beginning. And when it comes to reviews, one important thing is, initially you're going to offer discounts. Initially you're going to be offering some coupons, and initially you are going to make sure your price is very competitive when it comes to other sellers selling the same product. Once you have gotten about 10, 20, 25 reviews, then you can scale up your business. You can manipulate the pricing, you can increase the pricing, decrease the coupons, and gradually from there you would have more leverage when it comes to pricing. But initially you would have to keep your pricing very competitive, just so the customers have a reason to buy your product over a product that has got about 500 reviews compared to yours, which hasn't got any review. So there comes the pricing factor, coupons and discounts, just so it grabs their attention. There you go, you've got your product launched, and the customers are now buying that product of yours. Now there's going to be some post-launch strategies as well when it comes to PPC, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to efficient advertising as well. In the next video, we're definitely going to talk about optimization of your advertising, efficient PPC campaigns, and how to boost your organic ranking, especially in the first few months of launching your product. But thank you for watching this one. See you next time.